just trying to stay above water,
Yeah,
mentally.
yeah. Well, this is going to be one of the most exciting lives we had. I'll tell you what. You are likely familiar. Let me turn that off. With Lookout for Charlie, yes.
Yes.
You know, I never knew much about him or really his channel because I had been getting random YouTube videos of his, but I went to the targeted individual Facebook page and I stumbled across one or two of his videos that are exceptional. And I want to talk about why I think this guy is onto something that nobody else is really aware of and knows much about. What do you think about that?
Yeah, sure. Let's hear
Okay.
it.
Lookout for Charlie says all this UTIs out there that think that you're being abducted and microchipped in the middle of the night, or that you're hearing voices through the vents in the hallway, are chasing your tail. The metals that are being sprayed in the air through chemtrailing have saturated your body with heavy toxic metals. Everybody in the population, we have become like a lithium battery. The body has become so toxic with metals that it carries a positive ion charge. And because of this, we are now, they, our adversaries are able to direct energy towards us, as well as what he calls RF, not voice to skull, but radio frequency, as an FM radio station would send its broadcast to a transistor radio. Does that make sense?
Right.
We have become transistor radios for those of us, and that's me, that get voice to skull at any time, like Christina or anybody else. This is the reason why. Okay, so now that we've identified the problem, we are toxic. How do we get rid of the problem? He has a solution. And the first and foremost is the use of potassium iodide tablets. The potassium iodide, that is, not iodine, binds to the heavy metal and pulls it out of your body, and then it passes through the waste. In addition to the use of something called bentonite clay, I'm going to put it in the private chat. I'm going to spell it bentonite clay. Mixed with water, it comes either pre-mixed. It's in the private chat comment section. Or you can buy it as a powder and mix it yourself. This is negatively charged, so it's going to draw everything like a magnet, as negative and positive attract together, and it's going to pull all of that out of your body. In addition to the use of an oil of oregano, tablets, vitamin B, magnesium, and something else that I'm forgetting right now. He also said, stop washing your clothes with laundry detergent, liquid or powder. And don't use a clothesline. Always use an electric or gas dryer. Use borax. That's what he said. Borax is only slightly more toxic than table salt. Borax. Borax. I'll write it again in the comments. He said the use of boron pills. You can order them, boron pills. And then something we talked about in the past, charcoal, activated charcoal. You can get it at Whole Foods is another way of pulling toxins out of the body. That stuff is cheap. 60 tablets for like $12. You take a couple as a supplement. Yeah. When somebody overdoses on heroin or opiates, what do they force down into their stomach? Liquid charcoal. Okay. That draws all the opiates out of the body, out of the stomach, because the stomach lining is how it moves into the bloodstream, right? So it's sucking all of that opiate right out of the body again. You ask any emergency room physician, nurse, or what have you, they'll tell you they're using it all the time for overdose patients or people that are maybe they took poison. They may have drank poison by accident, something under the kitchen sink.
Or they could have been drugged. You know how these perps like to work.
That's right. They could have been drugged. Exactly right.
Just
Oh,
information for us to know. You know.
this is information for us to know. This is how they are neurally monitoring. This is how they GPS track the radio frequency to brain or voice to skull. It's everything. And once I started spreading this information, the attacks came very quickly towards me. The spiritual attacks, the V2K attacks, they manifest very fast. But I don't give a shit about that. All I care is about getting the message out there.
Right.
Now, I've been
Yeah.
excited in the past. We had the driver. What was it? The Z driver. We've
Right.
had ceramic tile. We've used all kinds of things that we got excited about that didn't really work so well. Now, with this, he said, don't expect a 24-hour deliverance. It'll
Nah.
take,
This is Yeah. It'll take a while.
yeah, because we've been poisoned for years now. But it makes sense that they have to continually spray the skies with this shit almost on a daily basis because the body rejects the poison. It wants to get out of your body.
Right. And the stuff that they're spraying, it easily tricks the system into like taking it into the body. Right.
Yes, it does. And it's also causing all kinds of other side effects. The aluminum is causing early Alzheimer's, dementia, all
Right.
kinds of things. Metals don't do anything good for the body at all. Absolutely
Right.
nothing.
Yeah. Like I used to. So supposedly I was watching a movie. This is just a kind of like a side note, but I was watching a movie. I forgot the name of the movie. I gotta remember the name, but the whole plot was that babies are supposedly born with the skull isn't formed yet. I guess at the top of the head, right? So when you're younger, um, I guess you dream more, or you're able to like tap into things more easily. And so when your skull is built, uh, there's some stuff that's it's I forgot its a name, but people have practiced it in where they drill a hole, um, supposedly where their third eye is, and it's supposed to let the blood flow circulate so that you're able to dream more. You have more vivid dreams and stuff like that because supposedly when you're born, you have this is like natural or something like that. So that but anyways, I have to give the names out in the movie so you could look it up because it's actually been like practiced. They've done these procedures in the past. It's just something that interested me, but it's not like mandatory or anything. It's just something that interested me. But it's like just the whole fact of the matter is that I used to dream before. I used to have a lot of dreams as a child, and with the heavy metals and everything that they're polluting us with, it obviously is doing something to the brain where it's like disconnecting us from a certain side of us that we should be connected to. I feel. And whatever we can do to get that back, I feel that that should be done.
Whatever's in line with the will of the creator and whatever your free will is that doesn't violate anybody else's, I'm in favor of.
Right.
So yeah, I did know that the skull of the baby isn't formed completely. I didn't know about the rest of that stuff.
Yeah.
That's why if you drop a baby or a baby enters its head when it's, you got to be careful with the baby's head because it's like an eggshell when it's very young. The skull is.
Right.
It can be broken very easily. You don't want to shake a baby. That's how they get brain damage. If you violently shake a baby, they're going to get harmed. Nobody should ever be doing that. That's a side note, though. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
Anything else?
So, for people that didn't tune in to the live right away, can you repeat the methods that can help for us to detoxify ourselves from the
I,
start, from the beginning?
I've actually listed them in the comment section in the private chat area,
Okay.
but I can list them again verbally if you like. I
Yeah,
will.
verbally is fine.
Okay. You're going to want first, you're going to want to order potassium iodide pills, tablets. You can probably
I
get
think
these
I
at,
heard I think I heard Charlie talk about he's like that he usually gets them. I'm not sure if he makes them or if he gets them from a certain source because he said sometimes you can order stuff and it's not really like the real stuff or it's like a knockoff type. So he said like to be careful who you're ordering from as well.
well, I don't know how you're able to authenticate what's real from what isn't if you're in the purchase. I mean, I'm not a chemist. I wouldn't be able to test that. But I ordered potassium iodide online. It's, I think, $6 for 14 tablets. And the more you buy, the cheaper it is. So it's not extremely expensive. You can likely buy this at your vitamin shop.
All right.
Uh, bentonite clay. That's BEN. Is in Tom. ONITE clay. Either in powder or pre-mixed with liquid. You might get a little sick on this stuff the first or second time. You might have to run to the bathroom. Your stomach you might be temporarily nauseated, but that's all right. Suffer it and keep using it as time goes on. It's taking the poison out of you. The next is oil of oregano gel tabs. Regularly bathe in Epsom salt and baking soda, 4 cups each, hot water until it's lukewarm. I don't have a bathtub, so I'm showering with it. Okay. And I pre rub this stuff down. It's Dr. Teal's liquid Epsom salt charcoal. I rub that all over myself and I let it sit for a few minutes. Now, I don't know if it's getting the job done, but it's better than just using dial soap. Okay. You really need to soak in this shit for a while. That's the real deal. And then, uh, no laundry detergent. Use borax because this stuff is getting in our clothes. And the laundry detergent kind of seals it in. Now, look out for Charlie. He has more. He mentioned something like a lime scale peel. And I'm not going to get into that. But I can refer you to. I got this from Lookout for Charlie on YouTube. I'll post that in the comment section because it's spelled in a different way. Lookout for Charlie YouTube. Now this guy claims that he had all. He says if you could name a symptom that a TI experiences, any one of them, he checked all the boxes and they're now all gone. He says they're now all gone. No more magnets. No more helmets. No more Faraday cages and shit like that. He said, you got to get the metals out of your body. And he said, this makes the most sense. Okay, it's non invasive, it affects everybody, and explains why the chem. Look, they're not going to spray the skies for no damn reason. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They're not going to waste their time with all of that. So, and then we have the issue that our water and our food is poison as well. So the solution is the same. That means this is perpetual. As long as they poison us, we need to keep doing that in order to stay out of their control grid, their 5 or 6G control grid. So I've just begun doing it. I've ordered the clay, the bentonite clay and the potassium iodide. It has not arrived yet. Okay, but when it
Cool.
will, in the meantime, I'm taking potassium gluconate. Any form of potassium is better than nothing. And as an added benefit, you won't get any cramping either. That's the benefit of potassium. Now, bananas is a poor source of it. You could eat cases of bananas and not get enough. Okay? So it's in the comment section again. Epsom salt, baking soda, 4 cups each, and all the other things I talked about.
All right.
Now, if you want the dictated version written on paper, he has a link to that on his YouTube channel. It's all written out in very fine detail. But I covered most of it in the comment section.
And you already talked about the iodine too, right?
The potassium iodide. Now, if you're talking about iodine itself, typically salt has an iodine supplement added to it. Natural table salt is added with iodine, but you can get, let me say what iodide, potassium permanganate, and chlorine do. That's liquid chlorine, is they are a disinfectant. They kill bacteria. Look out for Charlie also said you have a fungus in your body. It's a fungal infection. We all have it. All TIs have it. It's similar to Morgellons. 100% of all TIs have a fungal infection and are like a lithium battery. All of us. So it behooves us all to take these means to cure ourselves. The rest of the population is sick with metals, but they're not that sick yet, but they will be. That's the whole idea. Everybody becomes a slave. That's the whole idea. And you have a lot of perps that are hooked into a hive mind that likely would rather not be. So if I have any of adversaries listening, the solution is the same for us all. Whether or not you want to do that quietly is entirely up to you. At the end of the day, there's no winners with this one, only losers. I don't give a shit who you are. You could be the queen, Freemason, adrenochrome sucking pedo herself. They're all infected. Does not matter. It's a great equalizer.
Yeah, the thing that I was calling it to pronounce it properly is called trepanation. There was a movie I was watching. Supposedly in this movie, I don't know if it's fact or fiction, but supposedly it give like people power to help them to use. And this was just in the movie. Trepanation has a totally different information about it online. So, but yeah, so supposedly they, if you type this up in YouTube, it shows a bunch of videos talking about this stuff. And I don't know why people would do it, but from the understanding that I got was it helps the blood flow in the brain. That's pretty much totally all that they said about it. But I don't know if this would help with the targeting or not. I mean, you already said the solution or one of the solutions, but there's probably others as well that can help. But yeah, this is just something, just a side note to look into.
Yeah, I'm not claiming that I have all the solutions. I've named 4 or 5 methods. If you have more or others, please let me know or let us know about it.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not claiming
But
it.
yeah, I have seen Look Out for Charlie. He has more videos in the past. He doesn't talk about it so much anymore, but he does have other videos talking about getting into the detoxing and using the potassium iodine and all that stuff. So if you guys want to go look at that, it's on his channel and you can find it easily just looking up his channel and going through his videos.
Yeah, these videos are 5 years old, and I'm thinking, where have I been the last 5 years?
Yeah, I've seen most of those videos. I just never I don't think I ever send them to you. I guess cuz I always we send so many. But
Why
yeah, I
would
mean, you can.
likely listen to this, but just didn't think it was worthwhile, or it doesn't matter. I know you've said look out for Charlie before. I don't remember hearing. Oh,
Yeah, he's always been a good guy that I've went to for information as well. So yeah, I do recommend
but I'm
his
saying,
stuff.
bro, why are we finding out all these years later? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? If this ends up being the solution, I'm going to be kicking myself that we didn't find this shit sooner.
And people haven't shared it. Like if you go on my channel, you'll see at least either one of those videos or a few of those videos. If you type in the title that he has for the same video, I've probably uploaded it already. So it's probably on my channel already. So I go through all the information I think is helpful and I put it on my channel. So it's probably up there. So
Yeah,
I share stuff. I try to send things out, but like it's just pretty much on the TI community if they're trying to spread information as hard as we are.
I understand that, but are any of these methods anything you've ever used in the past?
Consistently using, I haven't, but
Have you
now
tried?
that you're starting, you can actually give us some updates on how it progresses or helps with with the attacks in general.
Well, I will do that. Yeah, I certainly will.
Hey,
Hey, hi,
how
Christine.
are you?
What?
Hey,
And what?
hey. How's
I,
it going on here?
well, Christina, we've just been talking about what we think could be the solution to our problem.
What's that?
Are you familiar with Look Out for Charlie?
Oh, yeah, I've watched some. I actually emailed him and he replied back.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got some good stuff.
Well, he says that he's symptom free and that all the things that you and I have experienced, he experienced at one time, but no longer does. And he explained why.
He removed all the nano and heavy metals, I'm assuming.
That's correct.
Okay.
You know how he did it?
How?
He used potassium iodide tablets along with oil of oregano gel tabs.
Okay.
He uh, he used some kind of a lime scale. I'd have to get the recipe again. And something called bentonite clay, which is
Yeah, I have bentonite clay powder and liquid form.
You do. So you've used it before.
Yeah.
Tell us what you think about that.
Oh, I love the bentonite clay. I like both the powder form, which I use in the bath. It's supposed to be the closest thing to grounding, but I like the liquid form bentonite clay. It works like a liquid magnet.
Ah, okay. And is there a noticeable difference between the use and the not using it?
Yeah, to me there is. There's a big difference in using all the organics compared to not using them.
Okay. Would you say that life would be almost impossible if you didn't?
With my organics, yeah. Like I have to have turmeric, ashwagandha root, ginger root, cayenne pepper. I feel like my body, it goes through a withdrawal of like craving it, like it needs it.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's very subtle. It's more of a your body just needs it. Um, the bentonite clay, 1 teaspoon in the morning and then one at night with a chase of water does really good. The oil of oregano pills works really well. Um, I'm trying to think of what else I take. Calcium, magnesium. Anybody who's a TI who gets hit with weaponry, calcium, magnesium is a must.
Uh, are they separate or combined, calcium?
The calcium, magnesium are one pill. Yeah, I highly recommend any TI, just all TIs taking calcium, magnesium.
Okay, I've been taking these separately. Calcium is one supplement and magnesium is another. Is that the same?
Yeah,
Am I
yeah.
taking? Okay, all right. The other thing you mentioned was organic apple cider vinegar to take a shot of that every day.
Yeah, I think that's good. You just got to be careful with the combination of apple cider vinegar and oil of oregano because the oil of oregano is really strong. So you got to be careful with your digestive system. If you're a individual who has a sensitive stomach, I highly recommend that everybody stick to their own regimen because you know your body better than anybody else does. So I can sit here and tell you a long list of everything that I consume, but it might not be what's right for you. We're all wired differently, no pun intended, but go with your gut and you know your own body better than anybody else. So, I could sit here and tell you, oh, I take this, that, and the other. But some of those combinations might not have an effect on you, or it might even have side effects depending on, if you're taking any other pharmaceuticals or, if you have blood clots, if you don't have blood clots. I mean, there's just so many different, you have to do your own research and you have to really tune into your own body and see what your body's asking, what it requires. My supplements are pretty simple. It's just turmeric, ashwagandha root, hawthorn berries sometimes. I take mullein, which is my favorite for the lungs, and ginger root. I like to drink teas like dandelion root, chamomile, stuff like that. Um, but the bentonite liquid is fairly cheap. I think it's like $10 to $11 for a bottle.
Yeah, I bought some powder. I'm going to mix it myself and come up with a ratio that works. I'm interested to know how Charlie has become symptom free, and yet we can't compare each other's level or intensity.
Well, I'll just be honest with you. Unless he did a very evasive detox, I'm just going to be honest. Unless he did like an evasive just detox where it was strictly just organics and herbs, I'm pretty sure it did have a major effect because we do have heavy metals and nano in our body. And to, remove as much as possible would probably be ideal. But I mean, it might not have, I don't know because I don't know him personally and I'm not speaking for him. But I would assume that it would probably dilute it, but I don't know about removing it, like targeting.
Okay, well, we'll have to each try it and find out and see what happens for ourselves.
Yeah, because I'll be honest with you, any kind of processed food, if you're consuming any processed food, I mean, it's pretty much in all processed foods. The thing with fruits and veggies too, the trick to that is non-GMO. Anything that doesn't have seeds, you have to question. It's really hard to go to a grocery store. And out here where I live, it's really hard for the area that I live in to grow any kind of vegetables because the soil in the backyard is just so thick, clay. Alabama dirt is quite difficult. It's clay. It's like red mud. It's really, really, good, healthy, and full of nutrients. Excuse me. But it's just I live kind of off the side of a mountain, so it's not like I can just start growing a bunch of vegetables and stuff like that. It's just real difficult out here. Like the produce, when you go into a grocery store now, you don't know what's what anymore. Everything just seems like so GMO'd. If it doesn't have seeds, definitely question it. But it just seems like everything has, over processed metals and too much sugar. Like I went to the grocery store yesterday looking at some of the organic juices and I turned the bottle around and I didn't realize how much sugar was in some of the stuff. And it'd be like 21, 36 grams. And I'm like, what the crap?
Yeah, so let's just assume that our food and water supply is just as contaminated as the air, okay?
Now, somebody said 10 said fasting works wonders. Now, I want to comment on that. I'm not doubting that fasting works. I did a fasting myself. Now, if you're a person who is very petite like myself and has a very high metabolism or fast metabolism, please be careful and listen to your body. Don't force it. Don't, allow ego to say, I'm stronger than this. Don't listen to your body. By the third day, I was pretty sick. And it could have actually caused long-term damage. So definitely be careful with the fasting. Make sure you take in the proper nutrients during the fasting. Definitely keep yourself hydrated. Don't follow somebody else's lead when it comes to any kind of health. Fasting, anything of that nature. You need to listen to your own body.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh
There's just I don't want to argue about a fasting with anybody, but I had the experience with the fasting, and due to the way my body is and the way my body works, I have a very high fast metabolism. I did a 3-day fasting, which I think wasn't a good idea. I should have done only 2, because it could have caused long-term damage. So all I'm saying is just listen to your body while doing any kind of like detox fasting, going to organics and consuming certain herbs. Always listen to your body.
you know the purpose of this live stream is to offer options and solutions, because you can go to a lot of these TI channels regardless of YouTube or StreamYard, and you're going to hear a lot of, what happened today and how many perps surrounded me and shit like that. That doesn't mean a damn thing.
Yeah.
So we try to keep this as solution focused as possible. Now, we're not by any means claiming we have the cure. We're not saying that.
No.
We're saying give it a shot and see what happens. The investment's pretty small, and all you got to lose is that you get healthier. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. No, definitely. Go, detox fasting is amazing. Organic route is probably what's best. Drinking cleaner water. I know a lot of people go after, water and they're just like, oh, this and the Aquafina is a definite no. Dasani, waters like that, Smart Water, all these companies that claim they're separate companies are really owned by the same company. So you're going to want to go to a certain, pH balanced water, do your research on it. It's real difficult because you gotta understand you're dealing with, like an industry and all this other BS. So you really got to do your own research. Fiji water. I love Fiji water. Fiji water is good. Believe it or not, a lot of the generic waters that are sold by the grocery stores, like Publix water, Kroger's water. I even heard like Walmart's distilled and spring water is really good. I've seen a lot of people test those waters. I'm trying to think. There's another one out there. It's expensive though. It comes from Florida. I can't remember the name of the water. But like a case of that, it's like $8 or $9, but it's real good water. It sucks that all the good stuff is so expensive.
Well,
Like it really, really sucks because you go to the store and you're like, what the crap? Like it's so expensive.
not only that, but the scum of this Illuminati one world government scum have gone to great lengths to see it to it that even your most expensive organic stuff has got Pepsi, not just Pepsi Cola, but I mean municipal water and high dollar artesian water has got some percentage of nanotech heavy metals in it, right?
Yeah.
And assuming your food and drink is as clean as it gets, you're still going to get it through the atmosphere anyway. You know,
Yeah, it's real difficult. It just feels like uh it just seems like there's no escape from a lot of the things, but um the more organic the better is all I'm gonna say.
yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree totally with that. I,
Yeah.
I've got a box of heirloom seeds, non GMO seeds for about 45 different varieties of vegetable. All right. And I'm saving those babies for a day where, produce is gone and it's time to till the ground and plant our own stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, but that's the way to go if you can do it. If you could grow your own, you got a little plot, or you flower pot them in the windowsill or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But so the detoxing is perpetual, as the poisoning of the air and water is also perpetual. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can agree on that. Uh, it makes the most sense to me, the Faraday cage, uh, RFID fabric, and the Schumann resonance. All of these things have not really worked. They have not worked. So
Yeah.
this makes the most sense to me. Now I might be full of shit. I don't know. I'll have to find out.
Yeah.
Have to find out. Okay. Anything else you guys want to shoot the breeze on here?
I see Herbert Grover. I don't know if he's still on here. I actually have an evasive chip. Yeah, Herbert. I think quite a few of us probably do. I think I also have one behind my left ear. Um, down in the, you know, private area. I also think I have one on the left side of my chest as well.
Well,
Do you have any? Hey, how's it going, guys?
hey, good. How you doing? Who's this?
Sorry, I was gonna start off with a question, but I'll introduce myself. It's 10.
Oh, hey, how you doing? 10.
Hey.
Good, good.
Cool.
I've been following you guys for a while, so I
Hey,
figured,
thanks
what
for
the
coming.
heck?
Yay.
Yeah, the flying monkeys are crazy right now, but
Yeah, they're pretty heavy right now. I think they're working overtime considering the circumstances with all the shifts going on and then the war and
I think there's an eclipse tonight too,
yeah,
or some
well,
shit.
it was here, I think, already
Oh,
on
okay.
my end of the world because I'm in Alabama.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I just think it's kind of funny, where it's
How
like,
everything kind of they correlate everything with, yeah.
I
Well, they have to correlate, everything's about predictive patterning. So,
uh,
with them,
I threw out my trash like maybe 15 minutes ago, and this lady and I think her mom were sitting out there, and they never sit out there, and I heard them saying like, "Oh, he has experience now. He has experience now." I was just like, "Bitch, please!" Like, I'm fucking smoking on my cigar here and shit. I'm a
you heard
fucking
them say
warlord.
that out
So.
loud, or that was the V2K?
No, they were just indirectly talking shit, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, this shit doesn't really affect me anymore unless I don't sleep. So
Yeah, the V2K has no effect on me, and any kind of manipulation of my environment has no effect on me.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
I figured for uh my program or whatever, it's just linguistics and little little noises that they make.
Yeah,
You know?
mine's linguistics, definitely linguistics. I
Yeah.
get a lot of the algorithms, mind control. I get directed energy weapons 24/7. V2K
Mm,
is 24/7. I get the microwaves, stellar waves, and just I think acoustic. I'm sure throughout the day. It's just my experience
yeah.
with a lot of it is just a nightmare.
See, I don't have nightmares. That's a cool thing, I guess. But, um,
Yeah, I get a lot of the psychological BS.
uh,
Yeah, I get it. Mine's pretty severe, where it's literally like the worst fucking nightmare you've ever had in your life.
yeah.
Yeah, like
No,
it's
trust me,
pure.
I know what
It
you're talking about.
literally is pure hell.
Yeah.
Where I've seen the scariest freaking demons to the scariest shit you could possibly imagine.
Yeah, for me,
Like if
it's more like,
if your brain could just imagine the most evilest thing, that's what I
mhm.
mean.
No, trust me, I've been there. I've been there, but for me, it's just like sleeping is like a superpower. It just kind of eliminates it
Yeah,
all, like 97% of it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Yeah. And then I try to stay happy all day. Because why the fuck not? It's our life.
yeah.
There you
And
go.
I've
Right.
noticed too that, do you guys notice that you guys, and I'm not proud of saying this, but you guys can get away with more things than you ought to.
What do you mean?
Like maybe um overindulging and shit like that, or you can fuck off like 3-4 days on like a bender and then come back and everything's fine.
Hmm, I think I know what you're saying.
Yeah, like I don't know. I think there's some higher ups where you kind of like rub them the right way after a while, and they start liking you. As dumb as that sounds, and they kind of look out for you in a way. I don't know if that makes sense.
Okay, so yeah, so my experience with a lot of this, I'm gonna try to not say too much.
Yeah, yeah, I
Um,
hear you.
but you have to really understand the enemy and how they really look at it. It's too deep for me to talk about. But yeah. I think there's just this thing in this world where it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Do you guys think you got chosen for this like randomly, or there's something in the blood or something like that?
Good question. It's a damn.
Because
Uh,
from back in the day, they say that the fallen angels they slept with human women, and then from that they kind of corrupted the DNA, the human DNA, and then so there's those people, and then there's what I would guess more purebloods, even though they've probably been fucking with our DNA since forever, though. But
Well, I don't know what the criteria is. I don't believe anybody does, except those that have the control over all of this. Uh, I do believe that we were selected, though I'm not going to speculate as to what the criteria was or is. So, yes is the answer. I do believe that.
do you guys think you guys can like manifest agendas in the world? Like I feel like when they're really heavy, like attacking me, and nothing comes about, like because basically they want to kill us, right? So, uh, so I always learned that a couple days later, there's like a mass shooting or like a whole building burnt down or something like that. It's like they have to claim that blood somehow. Like it's kind of I know it's all kind of weird, but you know.
Well, that's how the occult rolls. They're weird. Everything about
Mhm.
them is bizarre. You know,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
I believe this, that each one of us has some spiritual truth that is not common amongst the general population.
We're like all like a key to the puzzle, right? Like we all have like pieces to it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Each one
I
of us
mean,
has something. Yeah.
overall, I don't look into it that much. I do watch it a lot and things about it for more for just entertainment. And then I'm kind of like, damn, I remember when I used to be that bad, like uh I used to think a fruit fly was fucking with me, sent from them or something like that. Uh, but they kind of want to make us narcissistic too, like where everything and anything is revolving around us, and it's really kind of not.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other things going on in the world.
Right.
I
Are
don't
you
know.
able?
I guess it's hard for me to explain to talk about it. Um, I don't know. Um, was it hard for you guys to talk about it the first time, like on a live and shit?
I mean, whatever you're comfortable with, you know what I mean? I mean, you're amongst fellow sufferers, so you don't ever have to
Mhm.
worry about what people think of what you're
No, I
saying
don't
is
mean it that way. Like,
okay.
I mean it like as far as like wording it and like speaking, literally speaking about it. Like, um, I feel like now what they're doing with my life is like they're scripting it, so they're putting out like plays, um, where I can kind of sense what's going to happen. They lay out traps and stuff like that. And I just need to be more aware of that. But
You
otherwise,
able to say what part of the country you're in?
I'm in Vegas. So.
You're in Vegas. Okay. So I'm in Northern California. Maybe
Yeah,
you've
I
been
think
there.
it's bad everywhere because I travel a little bit like every year, and
Uh-huh.
it's just bad everywhere. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
And,
yeah, for
and I
sure it
think
is.
it's just the spraying. The spraying is what it is because I have gone to like countries where they don't spray, or I didn't notice any spraying, and like it was like pretty damn peaceful.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Out here we're just like giant antennas. That's all.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly right.
Yeah.
And even within California, if I go to the Central Valley where they're not spraying so much, you
Uh-huh.
know, things are much easier there.
Like like farther north.
Oh, if I go east into the
East.
San Joaquin Valley, yeah,
Okay.
where all the agricultural area is,
Yeah.
they lighten up on me there. And I think you're onto it. It's because there's less spraying going on in the air, right?
I think that's what it is, man, because um but then again, I don't know, because I also kind of feel that this has been going on like for maybe thousands of years. Like the dawn of man, remember, like the serpent whispered to Eve, and it's kind of like the same thing that we go through, like the kind of suggestions and whispers and influences and stuff like that, and it's just kind of up to us if we're gonna fall for it or not, or whatever, or we're gonna be triggered by it, this or that.
Right. You seem to have a lot of biblical knowledge. Are you a believer in Christ?
I am, uh but I have my own kind of spiritual spirituality, and I have my own journey, man. I feel like God, the creator, is kind of like a dad, or even simpler. I'll give you a simpler example where you buy a puppy, and you don't want that puppy to suffer anxiety or any kind of any bad. You just want that puppy to be happy and go explore the world, and that's it, right? It's kind of how like the creator sees us, I think. You know what I mean? Like, hey, go get some bruises and learn from your mistakes, and try to be the best person you can, but don't walk on that eggshells either. I definitely don't do that. I do fucking I do what I want, basically. And in this neighborhood, I try to stay fit and stuff like that. So you got to be a shark out here, man. I
Yeah.
do feel bad for like the more frail people, like older, or they maybe had like a rougher childhood, or they're just not in shape, and that's just not their persona, where they're not tough and they're a little more frail in their character. I'm the type of person that I can turn into a fucking demon, because that's how we have to war sometimes, with these
Yeah,
guys.
right.
So, you know what I
Absolutely.
mean? It just there's no all's fair in love and war, right? So,
I
but
agree.
yeah, my targeting started like basically overnight. I think how most people's targeting starts. It was just like I think they had been maybe conditioning me and stuff like that. To say the bad triggers and stuff like that, and you're like, what the fuck? Like those words, those thoughts, and those feelings never existed in my life prior to um, like Sunday, you know, per se. And yeah, man. But I was very egotistical. I was younger. I was very irresponsible, and I thought I was running. I grew up in Sin City, man. So
Yeah.
I just thought I was invincible, and um, in that sense, I took a big slice of humble pie there. But now I'm kind of grateful, as weird as it sounds, for this system, because it's made us, some of us, like so indestructible and so strong.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And like we're so we may not know like physics and like fucking, we're not doctors or anything like that, or scholars, if you want to call it that, but we are very, very smart and very aware. I've learned to, I've modified my personality a lot. Um, I'm definitely not that kid anymore. And it's a never ending thing, where you just keep learning to be better. And I'm I'm to the point where I'm almost 40, and I'm just content and happy with what I have and where I am and where I'm going in life,
That's cool.
without being, yeah, without being too demanding, too critical, or judgy with myself or others. Um, you know what I mean? It's
Oh
life,
yeah.
man, and then this thing's just on us, and it wants us to be uncomfortable and fucking negative and hating everybody, hating
Right.
our neighbor. You know, if it just started, you think it's your mom, your friends, your whoever you were just with 5 minutes ago and shit like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then yeah, you learn all that stuff. It's like, no, like I'm not gonna think badly of that person that I haven't seen in 10 years. You know, I wish them all the best. They post something online that I may not particularly like, or I'm kind of inclined because of this thing, to kind of have a negative lens on it, because that's what they want us to do. But I don't think we do that. You know, we're just like, we mind our own business, and we know we're not perfect. Um, but in the end, I think it's funny too, or not funny, but it's amazing how protected we are in a way. Because if they really wanted us dead, which they do, they would have killed us a long time ago. So
Oh yeah, for sure.
you know what I mean? So that's where I was getting at with the protection. There's some kind of rules to the game, and when you start learning them, and we can attack them the same way. So like when they get when I get annoyed here, like in I live in the hood, man. You know, um,
Right.
so in the building, sometimes I make noise back. Like I'll play loud music. I'll fucking scream, like a maniac sometimes, just all of a sudden. But it's not because I'm tripping. It's just because I'm having fun with it. Um,
Right.
so it's kind of like they make us perps also. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
at some point we got to be careful, because you're like, man, I have all the traits of of a perp now. You know, it's like,
well, no doubt, no
you
doubt,
know,
that's true. You know, like you said earlier, I can become a straight savage in a New York minute and do. I'm 52 years old. I grew up on the mean streets of downtown San Jose back in the
uh-huh.
day in the Bay Area, Oakland, East Bay, South Bay, and the Bay
Yeah,
Area.
I heard Cali's bad, man. You know.
Oh, it sure is. I mean, this is there's an army of these cockroaches out here.
Yeah, man. And then, you know, no disrespect or anything. I love Cali, and I am from Cali actually. But you guys have like real hoods. You know what I mean? Like motherfuckers have been like generational ghettos and shit.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like really jungle in some parts out there and stuff like that. So
Yeah, you know
um,
what the weird thing is?
mhm.
Is it 10?
Yeah, I just made up that name one day. You know.
That's fine. I want to be sure I got it right. The strange thing is that back in the day there was a very strict code of conduct on the street,
Mm.
and any confidential informant had a very short lifespan,
Especially in Cali, right?
especially in California.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Today, it's not all of these rules that we grew up with now all of a sudden don't exist.
Hmm.
And now what's tolerated, the rat, is now become so commonplace that they think that this shit is acceptable.
Well, I think they use people as vessels sometimes too. You know, I really think this program. I think we give it too much credit sometimes. But I think it's demon demon stuff connected to technology, man. You know, like you said, from the temples, the Masonic lodges, and all that. Um, and stuff like that. Do you guys feel like maybe you guys went through MK Ultra also, like
Oh
where
yeah.
um, I always felt like I had like a very compulsive, very strong personality, but you know how they tell you, wouldn't it be great for you to meet yourself through somebody else's eyes or something like that? Um, you know, when you do some auto analyzing like that, it's like, man, like I'm like just, you know, whatever they push me to say sometimes, like in social circles, also I would say it, or like we would kind of be like the idiots in the crowd, you know what I mean? Like I think at first they would kind of use us, because I used to be very emotional at one point too. I don't know why the fuck I was so emotional. But it's just so many imbalances in our personality at one point, you know, and we start learning, man. We start learning to stay calm, and you know, if you're a woman or a female, you use your feminine energy more, as you should, and then you know, us as men, we have to use our masculine, our divine masculine also, um, in a good way, you know. Um, I think you can be kind and you can be dangerous at the same time. I mean, if
Yeah, right.
somebody, you know, I'm a dad, so if somebody fucks with my kid, dude, like, um, you know, she can only give me headaches. But you know, I'm capable of doing anything for her. So
Yeah, yeah,
those
that's
kind
the
of
difference.
even somebody fucking with my house, you know, or something like that. They know I think they know better. Even with our cars and stuff like that, I think our cars may be protected. I do hear about some people sometimes they mess with their cars or you know, even with their health, or they'll break into their house and so, or something like that. I don't know why. I've never gotten that. So like,
I haven't either, and I'm not
it's
going to
kind of
say.
weird how they have our socials and all our login information, our bank accounts and everything. But you see, that's another rule. Like they can't use that for personal gain or something like that, because they've never taken a penny from me. So
Yeah, yeah, but they have from other people.
yeah, so that's kind of weird. I mean, do you think maybe because uh you know, my family really, my parents really worked hard for us to have a better life, you know, a better opportunity. So my sisters and my brother all went to school, and you know, they did pretty well for themselves. Do you think maybe because they're kind of like members of society, and they have businesses and stuff like that, that they're more that you know, they're more considerate of that?
I'm not sure about that as far as your class or your social
Yeah,
status. I don't think so.
you
Well, what
don't
they
think so?
do,
Hmm.
uh,
I know
no, not
they
really.
try to make us homeless, you know, fucking gay and
Oh yeah, oh for
everything
sure.
you're not, basically, right?
Yeah, definitely
Basically,
the gay
yeah,
part. Yeah.
yeah. At one point, I mean, I even felt ugly, man, you know, and I couldn't shake it off. I couldn't speak right. Right now, I'm like a little sleep deprived because I was kind of partying last night, and just help me pray about that too. You know, I do tend to overindulge, but I think that's kind of tied in there too. The kind of the enemy uses that to for me to sabotage my job and, you know, whatever little stuff I have in my life. I'm sure you guys know about that too, like
Oh
where
yeah.
they, yeah, they're just trying to leave us in the street. You know what I mean? In the street, um, crazy, and in the end, it's going to be all our fault. You know, our family is going to be like, "Hey, man, you're a grown man. Um, you know, shake it off, stop drinking or whatever you're doing, and go to work like the rest of us and shit like that."
You know, at the end of the day, pat yourself on the back for what you've been going through and been able to not just survive, but in your
Yeah,
case, you're supporting a daughter. I don't know if you're married still or still have a.
my thing started in 2011 when the 2012 apocalypse was supposed to happen and shit like that.
Uh-huh.
Um, I think there was like a cycle there, man, where a lot of people were, you know, volunteered into this shit program. around that time, like 2010, 2011. Um,
Yeah.
you know, but yeah, man, at one point I was just kind of like, I didn't know what to do. I had my vices also, so those didn't help. You know, when you don't sleep and you're going through all this shit and you don't know how to handle it, it's like, fuck. Like I used to sit in the garage at my parents' house and beat on the foundation, you know, on the concrete. I remember my wrist used to be all fucked up. Um, uh, all of a sudden, I'd smoke like half a pack of cigarettes, or you know, and stuff like that. And it was just bad, man. I was just like, I felt like a TV, like where it's like you're so discombobulated, you know.
Were you using speed or were you deprived from frequencies?
Well, I don't want to talk about that too much, but
Okay, all
you
right.
know, something along those lines. And I'm not ashamed of it. It is what it is, you know. So it's kind of weird. So before the program or whatever started for me, I was having like a blast with all the stupid shit I was doing. You know what I mean? Like ignorantly, obviously, I was very irresponsible and stuff like that. I thought I was on top of the world, and then you get to a point where it's like, no, you know, like they're trying to my joy or whatever. But maybe God allows it too, man, for us to kind of straighten some things out in our life, you know.
I can only speak to my own experience now.
But
I
you can
got to
imagine not being able to sleep for a few days and then going through a fucking torment and shit like that. But it just was bad. Yeah, and I had some worse incidents there, but I don't want to touch on those right now.
Just share what you're comfortable with, really.
Yeah, man. So it's been a long road where I'm really happy and content. I'm not tense in any place in my body. I know the young lady that was in here, she mentioned that she may have like a chip on her privates and stuff like that. I don't think she does. She might, you know. I think we're just saturated with like nanobots and all kinds of shit. That's why I try not to eat as much. I think people eat too much anyway. But but with her, I think she said that, and I know I'm assuming here, but maybe she's feeling some kind of sensations down there, and it's just the triggers, man. The linguistics, you know what I mean? Um, I notice for me, what they do is they slurp, they go like that, and it makes you think about your like your fucking dick or something, and
Well,
it's really weird, you know.
I've talked to a lot of female TIs, and there seems to be a pattern.
You think
That,
there's more female TIs? Because I think there is, man. You know,
yes, I do. I believe they're the majority, actually.
because a lot of them are moms, you know, and like the moms are like the queens of the house, like the stronghold of the house, you know, in a way. Um,
Yeah, I'll
so
tell you what,
if
though.
you attack that, it's like your kids and your home is done. Like, you know what I mean? So.
I think many of these women have snubbed a guy that may have had a romantic interest in the past that had Freemasonic connections
Mm-hmm.
or
You see,
incorrect.
the house that I grew up in, for the most part, the immediate neighbor, which he was very super annoying, you know what I mean? Retired vet. He was a Shriner, and I didn't know too much about the Shriners back then.
Yeah.
But he had mentioned something to a worker that he had around his house or something like that. He said that we were of the bad religion because, you know, back then our parents used to take us to church sometimes and stuff like that. And like, you know, we used to dress up and, you know, put our little ties on and stuff like that. And
Right.
I guess he knew because he was very nosy too.
Yeah, they all are.
Yeah, but yeah, man, he said we were of the bad religion or something like that. It's like, why would you even say that? You know, like
Yeah, right.
you're a Shriner, man. Like, and there's a lot of conspiracies with Shriners. I'm not gonna speak ill of them because I don't know if there's St. Jude's out in California. I'm sure there is, and they do a lot of good, supposedly for the community, where they take in the kids with cancer and terminal illnesses and stuff like that, and they don't charge them. And the Shriners are kind of like a kind of like, I don't know, like a front organization right?
Let me, if you don't mind, let me interject something here. 110.
Okay, but before you do, am I right? Where Shriners, they wear the little cap, because I remember him wearing that. That's part of like a Masonic thing, right?
Right. It's called a fez.
Okay.
It's called
you
a
see,
fez.
and me and that guy, we ended up in bad terms. So maybe he volunteered me or something. I don't know. Before he died.
It's
but I don't really care
tough.
how it started or why it started or anything like that. I think it's been since birth, man, from generations to generations, because I see my grandpa and stuff like that. They all kind of suffered, maybe not in the same way, but I'm kind of like where something has been trying to get rid of our lineage for a long time.
Let me just say what I do know, that to become a Shriner, you've got to complete either the Scottish or the York Rite of Freemasonry, and that's 33.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's a requirement.
Mm.
So you have to have completed either 33 Scottish Rite degrees.
I don't know how he had a bunch of money. But,
well, a lot of Shriners are business owners and doctors and all kinds of things. Okay. J. Edgar Hoover, the former FBI director, the cross-dressing Hoover, was a Shriner. Yeah. So a lot of influential people. They own 22 children's hospitals under the auspice of caring for sick children. But I believe it's a front for procuring these children for the clandestine means of adrenochrome and organ harvesting, etc. I believe that.
Yeah. That stuff's scary, especially now, the underground dungeons or whatever they talk about, with the kids in there.
Right, including there in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I'm sure it's everywhere actually, but
this you might not hear too often. There's what I call the minor leagues of Freemasonry. The farm clubs, that's the Rotary, the Lions Club, the Elks Lodge. These are all the Masonic organizations on the lower levels, right?
Yeah, those are kind of like the idiots, right? That don't know really what they're getting into.
Exactly, yes. Exactly. You got it. So my grandfather was a Rotary member, and it seemed, innocent enough, but it always does. You know what I mean? It always does. So, but the deal is with Christ is, if Christ is your means of approach to the Most High Father, then why bother with what is it that Freemasonry adds to our faith that didn't exist previously?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't really look into it. I'm just like, when out here in Vegas, you see a lot of people with the little sticker, the Masonic sticker, and they have a license plates now too. I'm like, you're such an idiot. Like you don't even know what it's about really. They promise you riches and power and all that, but you live in a mediocre suburb, dude. Like you drive a fucking Hyundai. Like you're a fucking idiot, and they're probably paying dues. I heard they kind of sell their souls and lock in their families and stuff like that, so you can't leave. You can't talk, obviously, and stuff like that, or it'll affect you and your family somehow. But yeah, man, I really think that God has shown me favor, and I don't mean this in a fucking like narcissistic way either, where it's like I can do and not do whatever I want. But shit, dude, I've done a lot of crazy shit. I've never hurt anybody like that, or anything like that. I've gotten some bar fights and stuff like that, but and I've never like robbed anybody or fucking blown anybody's car up or anything like that. Um, but yeah, as far as like my life out here, it's like, man, like I remember, I'm sure you do too, when you were little, man, this is the fucking US. It's the best country in the world, you know, and we're supposed to live free and be happy for the most part, you know. Um, but it's just all it's all fear, man, out here in this world now, you know. It's like, you know, they got the wars, the inflation, um, the COVID. I think COVID is on everything now. Like if you get a mild cold, you feel like I just had one like maybe 3 weeks ago, and I felt really weird, man. Like I felt like I had COVID, but you know, it was just like cold symptoms. Like there's just a lot going on out here. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
yeah,
Life
a
is
lot going on.
it's too serious. You know, everything is so goddamn serious. It is.
Yeah,
There's no carefree to anything, or there's no enjoyment in it.
exactly.
It's fucking serious everywhere.
I was a
You
Boy
know?
Scout out there in Cali, man, you know, and I used to go camping like almost every week. So I had no cares in the world back then.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
you know, and
It's,
it's kind of scary because like when I think about like, do I want another kid? It's like, yeah, ideally you want a boy or whatever, right? But do you really want to bring him into this world? Because I honestly think they affect or they fuck with my family too, like especially my kid. Um, she's really sweet and stuff like that, and really smart. But she has mentioned that she gets anxiety all of a sudden and stuff like that, or she'll feel really like just drained or sad, or just kind of like locks up, you know, like, or she doesn't know how to manage it and stuff like that. And so I try to
yeah.
talk to her, but yeah, man, I think it's just the devil and then his demon goons, you know, like he knows that they have no hope. They have no hope,
No,
and
no.
we do. And I think some of us, like I said, man, like you know, like for some reason, God shows us favor, and we can be like basically in hell, and we can be at peace and content and happy.
You know, you just touched on something important. The unclean spirits, the principalities and powers, they're furious that they were not given a second chance for forgiveness, and we have one. They're furious with that, right?
Yeah, yeah, they are. You
You
know,
know,
they told me not too long ago because I think I was talking to them through the V2K a little bit, and they told me they don't care. They just don't care. And what they wanted me to understand was like they don't care if we do good or bad out here. Like they're just here to mess with us, and that's their only task.
yep,
Uh, yeah. So
yep.
um,
They are to impede our progress every step of the way. And
they try to make us lose our faith too. Like you know.
oh, absolutely, they
So.
do. Absolutely.
And they try to steer us into the esoteric stuff and you know all kinds of agnostics and just all kinds of different belief systems, you know. But um, you really got to think about why they're attacking that, you know.
This is why they go so hard on the in the area of sexuality and to try to flip you into sexual depravity, because they know if they can succeed in that,
Mm-hmm.
that all sins are outside of the body with one exception, and that is sexual sins. And the more you
Right.
defile the temple, the more advantage you give to the adversary, and that's what they're seeking, is complete advantage, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not an accident that InfraGard, COP, and Neighborhood Watch recruit heavily from LGTB. All right. I've spoken to this many times, like a broken record, but it has to be mentioned that this is not accidental,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now, I believe that, and Ted Gunderson backed this up with numerous victim testimonies and interviews of criminal informants active in military and alphabet soups that
Like anonymous and all that stuff too.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. That in 30 years of private investigation, he discovered that children were being sold and auctioned by the CIA and military bases, and that was what the the majority of this black ops money originated from. Right, that it wasn't that it by no means had any traceable taxpayer influence at all.
It has such a demonic connotation. It invokes so much demonic power when you mess with a child or like a defenseless being. You know what I mean? Like, I guess that's where the adrenochrome derives from, right? The
Right, it's
power of
so
it. Yeah. So
vile. Yes,
yeah.
it is so vile and offensive that it's what the devil requires of his top followers. And of
Mhm.
course, he'll go to any lengths to please this maggot. But the shedding of innocent blood is so vile and offensive because it goes against, I don't care if you're religious or not, it goes against everything anybody believes in.
Yeah.
Right?
And
To
see, that
harm,
makes me think too, like, if you want to become a millionaire and all this other stuff, I'm sure there's some millionaires that you know, do become successful and rich through legit ways. But I think at that point, you're kind of part of a club also, man. You know what I mean? Like, because you do anything not to lose that wealth or whatever. So it's like, man, I definitely would not trade, burning in hell or being that much of a piece of shit um, for money,
right, absolutely. By no means. We know where our source, our real source is, and the Most High
Yeah,
has He not
it's
provided
like the
for every one
celebs,
of
right?
us.
The celebs, they gotta do gay stuff, and um, they get gang banged or whatever they tell them to do, right? At
Right,
the $20 million club and all that stuff.
exactly. Yes.
If you have $20 million, dude, you have some push out here in the world. You have some power. You can kind
Well,
of monopolize your life at that point.
right, and to the individual that seeks the fame and fortune, to them, it's at that time at least seems like an easy trade off. But I watched the 60 Minutes interview of Bob Dylan before Bradley died,
Hmm.
and he says, I made the deal. I made a deal with the chief, and he goes, "Can I
Yeah,
ask who
yeah,
the
yeah.
chief is?"
It's so eerie, man. Yeah,
He goes, "Well, the commander in chief." Well, we all know he's talking about the devil. We all know that.
yeah. Of this world and the next, right?
Right,
I
right.
don't know if you remember the Jay-Z incident. This was maybe like 10 years ago. He had an incident in an elevator where his one of his cousins, a female, was started attacking him, like punching him and kicking him and stuff like that. And he just kind of like, uh, would shove her off a little bit. Turns out later on, I think her son died or something like that. So he was kind of asking her for that sacrifice. You know what I mean? Um,
Oh, wow.
yeah. Jordan Sparks too. I don't know if you remember her. She was an American Idol winner. Her mom died. Her sisters, I think, her aunts, a bunch of people died after she got famous. So yeah,
Wow.
man, it's like when we start looking into that too, I think that's what it is also. But it's like, fuck, that shit's available to the public, dude. Like, because a lot of people are like, yeah, you start looking at all these corrupt, demonic things that are happening in the world, and more so under our government, and that's why you get targeted. But it's like, dude, that shit's all in the internet, not even in the in the deep web, you know.
Right. I mean, anybody can research this
Yeah,
stuff, right?
anybody. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know what you mean. It's not like it's a strange dichotomy where they got it out in the open, but then they want secrecy at the same time. You
Mm,
know, well, don't put your shit out on Front Street if you want this top secret information. You know what I mean?
exactly. Yeah.
Like you got Miley Cyrus in a ribbed dildo running around with a blow up penis and you know purple hair and a strap on. And I mean, you
I
know, then
mean,
you got
honestly, I like Miley in a sense because you know the Hannah Montana years. Or my little sisters watched her, but she was born into the shit, man. You know, it's kind of like, do you think that some people are maybe predestined for the fire and to like be like more important agents out here for this thing?
all I know is we're given it free will, and we know that the road to destruction is broad and that many there enter. Uh,
Because I know she says Dolly Parton is her godmother, but Dolly seems like she's more inclined to Christianity or whatever, you know. But you're
well,
right. I mean, people are smart, you know, we're not dumb, and we know, I'm sure she's heard, the word and stuff like that. So,
again, I think it comes down to free will and what the individual
mm,
wants to do.
okay.
And they steer there in the wheelhouse of their soul, the destination of it, right? So the
Yeah.
knowledge in every man, woman, and child, there's a basic knowledge that God exists. And I don't mean the twisted Lucifer, Adonai, Freemasonic backwards nonsense either. I mean the real deal, like the real Most High God.
You're talking about the Elohim, sovereign God.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. How long have you been in this, if I may ask?
I look back at 35 years. 35
Holy
years.
shit!
Uh, now,
And what was it like the same? Like, did you have the weapons and everything?
no, no.
Oh,
What I experienced was the gang stalking. I
and like
the
gaslighting maybe and stuff like that.
You're right. The theater and the
Yeah.
gaslighting I've experienced since I was a
Hmm.
teenager
Okay.
to an
Well,
extreme level, and I
I'm
just
sorry
thought
about that.
that's all right, man. I didn't understand it. I thought that's just the way the world was.
Yeah, you see, but it's like at least wait till you're like 20 or something like that. You know, don't fuck with kids, man. You know,
Well,
I don't get that part. You know, where it's like,
my old man was involved in some evil shit that I don't even know the full extent of to this day.
okay,
I believe my old man was involved in Satanism. I can't prove it, but I believe that's the case. Okay, but something that he and his second wife never talked about.
mm.
Now they worship money for sure. They sure do.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
And
money's not bad, right? The Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. So
he certainly loved money.
yeah,
Right?
for sure. Hmm.
And I kept a New King James Bible on my dashboard, and it would generate such a violent response with him, way over the top, that I can
Really?
only explain it to as a satanic. Uh, it was a virulent hatred of Christianity that he tried to conceal. All right. You still
Wow.
reading that fucking nonsense? Those fairy tales? I said, well, they're no fairy tales to me.
Right.
And 2 weeks before he died, I said, hey, Pop, you're close. Do you want to consider, accepting Christ? He said, God damn it, none of that religious fucking shit. And I mean, he died 2 weeks later.
Yeah, at least he stuck to his guns, man.
Yeah, he stuck to him all right, all the way into the pit of hell.
Yep. Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Unfortunate for him. You know,
Yeah.
fuck him. Fuck him. He was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I'm going to get him that subject, but I'm just letting you know that my old man was indicted on federal charges. My old man almost did some time in the federal penitentiary. He was not anybody you wanted to know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a white collar criminal for real. You see, and that stuff bleeds into the kid's life too.
Yeah.
It bleeds
Sometimes
into.
I just wish I was like a nerdy person, man, that just goes to my office and just kind of does his work and thinks nothing of anything else, you know. But it's like for us, it's like we're thinking of 4 different things at once all the time, pretty easily at this point. But still, you know, it's like we're always aware of uh, there's more to your reality, you know.
Always, you don't see it. Yeah, you don't see it. But I want to go back to the Shriner situation for a moment, if I can, because there's a video up called "Circus of the Shrine" or Shriners, and it's was made by somebody that was attempting to become a Shriner in Wisconsin. And I'd like to briefly describe what the initiate rites to the shrine are.
Okay.
Yo, so I'm gonna intercede real quick. I mean, I'm listening to you guys, but I'm like multitasking too. So I mean, just in case, because I'm gonna leave this video up. But if you start saying like anything about the gays or like anything that fucking YouTube doesn't like, they'll take down the video, like having to do with COVID or some shit like that. So
Yeah,
just try to
we
like
haven't said
not be
anything.
too vulgar in your
Yeah.
words because they'll try to use it and take down whatever information we're trying to get out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we haven't said
Okay, I
anything
got you.
derogatory about any group.
All
We
right.
just
Yeah, no, that's
mentioned it.
cool.
And that's it.
Just saying because once you talk about the Shriners, I know people, we don't like them. A lot of people don't like them because they feel like they're part of the targeting. So, just putting it out there. But you guys are good.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll just briefly say that William, who was a warlock, Satanist, he had become a Knights Templar, et cetera, et cetera. He
Nice.
describes as an initiate to the shrine being on all fours, his hands and knees in his underwear, being prodded in the ass with hat pins while sucking on a hot dog from a string, blindfolded and being urinated on. Okay,
That's
now that's not
kind of
a,
like Skull of Balls, no?
that's no Greek fraternity right there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's some skull and bones query shit right there for real.
Mm-hmm.
And it just shows you that that your neighbor who was a Shriner likely participated in something very similar to that.
I always had a bad feeling about him, man. I didn't like that guy at all.
That's likely the reason why, because he had some secrets. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They all do. They all do. Right? That's part of the deal. It's a secret society for real. Yeah, and they want to make you out to be the reprobate. Isn't that convenient? It's always a
Yeah,
reversal.
yeah, but I mean, a lot of times where they accuse us and attack us in that way, it's we're in our own home, usually alone or minding our business, and it's like you're fucking invading my personal space right now. I kind of feel sometimes like they persuade us or they kind of induce us into doing simple things, you know, like um, obviously not fall into anything major or anything like that or criminal, but you know, kind of self-destructive behavior sometimes, or they kind of like distract us, or they want us to self-sabotage, um, stuff like that. But
Well, look, at the end of the day, neural monitoring is the grossest form of privacy violation that you can think of. your thoughts are, you know, in your prayer life, that's the last vestige of privacy that was left.
Yeah.
And now it's now practically public knowledge through hive mind broadcasting.
Yeah, they call it the ether now. So
Well, okay, that may be true, or they call it whatever they like, but it's still disgusting and vile.
yeah,
It's, you know, at the end of the day, again, I can't get a prayer to my maker without somebody knowing about it. That's a problem.
right.
That's a problem. So, you know, we got to. And anybody that thinks that having access to people's thoughts is a good idea needs to take a bullet to the dome for real. Okay, it's a
Uh,
Pandora's box.
I'd want a slower torture, but yeah, I'm okay with that. Do you ever feel like the V2K guys? Because it's always the same people. You know what I mean? You can wake up at 3 in the morning to use the restroom, or like kind of toss and turn in your bed, or kind of get up for whatever reason, or you can just get up for work or whatever the hell, and they're there. You know what I mean? It's like the same voices, the same people.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
do you
for me
think?
it's faggot
Do you
this
think
and faggot
they're?
that.
Do you think they're enslaved to it? Like, maybe they're like felons, or they did something really bad, or they're rapists or some shit like that.
I
And
think they're I think
you
they're
know what I mean?
dirty cocksuckers that enjoy inflicting pain from a nice safe
But it's
distance.
24/7, man. It doesn't make sense. Like they don't do anything for holidays. Holidays are there, every single fucking day.
It, you know what? They could be demon voices, bro.
Yeah, and they sound just like us. So,
Well, I want
yeah.
to tell you something. When
Hmm.
I first became saved, I was an agnostic in
Hmm.
2004, and I heard demons speak audibly out of thin air like I'm talking to you now.
Okay.
So I believe there's a code of silence amongst the demonic that they violate from time to time. And they're very good at mimicking and copying human voices.
Yeah, they are. They are.
They're very good at it, you know? They're also good at making you think that something you heard audibly is internal or vice versa. Think
Yeah,
about that
because
for a minute.
that's followed by a trigger to your nervous system. So then you kind of like, they want you to own that thought and that feeling, and then they accuse you of it. And they're like, "Oh, you see, it's really simple shit, man. Once you pay attention to it, But it's so it's so effective, So it's so detrimental.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. And, you know, the devil's been studying your grandparents and all the generations all the way back to the beginning of time. He knows what works,
yeah.
right?
I mean, you remember Saul, right? Even King Saul, he used to just hear shit, man, and stuff like that. Where David had to go over there and play the harp and calm his ass down. And
Uh,
then
well,
yeah,
and also,
and then David ended up suffering from that also too.
yes, he did.
So
Saul consulted with a medium, and the prophet Samuel was conjured up. Remember that?
mm,
And he says, "Why do you bring me up from the dead again, Saul?"
mm.
And then the witch, he assured the witch that he wouldn't kill her, but he had nothing but trouble when he sought a medium.
Well, he was probably desperate also, man. So I don't know what state he was in. I mean,
But think about today, 1-0. How many are seeking mediums now?
yeah, and we do it through false prophets on YouTube and all this other shit. I do follow some guys like that. But I just take it as a grain of salt and more for entertaining. I don't. I lead my own life and stuff like that. I don't follow them religiously or take anything like that to heart. Um,
You might not, but the rest of this population does, and they're opening major doors that affect all of us.
Right.
You know, with this palmistry and all this shit, all this witchcraft and shit in Hollywood, man, it's opened the floodgates of hell into this country's life to Satanism, to Satan. And I cannot um, stress the importance of that. When a nation as a whole starts going the way of Balaam and
Hmm.
saying in witchcraft, it doesn't take long for it to circle the drain.
Yeah, I mean, and they own the media, so
They own the media too, so they've been pushing this shit pretty hard, right?
yeah.
Uh there's a lot of occult meanings within the Twin Towers, and I won't get into all that.
Yeah,
Uh,
I know some of that too. Where it unified, now it's one tower. Um,
and the more I study 1-0, the more I see this was never a Christian nation. It was a Masonic nation from day one. Day one.
yeah, and not just that. I mean, the fucking Nazis infiltrated all the facets of major government and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I mean, those guys are like so fucking they they're so turned on by aliens and all that shit, which I believe there is. There's some theories too that some of the spaceships are time travelers, just all kinds of shit, but yeah, I mean, the Nazis didn't really lose, they just integrated with us. So
Oh yeah, for real. I don't get on this alien subject on this channel, but I will say this: this is what I do know for a fact. That what we call UFOs, or what
mhm.
anybody calls, were
They're
not.
entities.
They were invented by National Socialist scientists. They were driven by BMW and Mercedes diesel engines.
Hmm.
They're all electromagnets, right? And that's everything in Area 51 and things, not far from you. That's what all that's about. I don't believe it has any damn thing to do with extraterrestrials. Okay.
I'm
Uh,
sorry, what do you think it's about?
I believe it's entirely human. It has no alien influence. That's what I believe.
Okay.
That's my belief, that it was entirely created by Nazis and that they were given diplomatic immunity for the Apollo program and their knowledge of rocket propulsion and these other means of like these UFOs and things, which explains why in the early 50s why there were so many damn sightings all over the U.S. Yeah,
Right.
that's about as far as I go with that. Uh, but I
Yeah,
can
because
tell.
we would have seen some, right, already, if that was the case, of like a different species or something.
Yeah, I don't believe there's any real hard evidence that life outside of this planet exists. I don't believe that. I believe that it's a demonic deception. That's what I believe. Okay,
Okay. Yeah,
that's
some of those things look like entities themselves, like the ships. There's some guys that follow like fake airplanes and stuff like that. I know that's kind of far out there, but it's in this world, Ben, I wouldn't be surprised anymore.
I mean,
Strangest.
we can certainly cover it. It's not a big deal. I don't mind doing that.
I mean, they said truth is stranger than fiction, right?
Yes, it is.
So,
Now, remember this Alex Jones character? This guy was nothing but an informant, a shill for the CIA and for the shadow government and things. This guy was over the top, man, and still is.
he's still
Right?
around, right?
He's still around with his prison planet bullshit, and that got a lot of people into hot water. Let me tell you.
What do you think about David Icke and stuff?
I think he's along the same lines. I think the people that follow him are well intended, but they end up
Mm,
like us. They end up targeted like us.
right.
They want you dumbed down, stupid, and not paying attention to that shit.
Well, he might be controlled opposition, just like Alex. So
I agree. Very likely he is. Very likely he is. Anyhow, we're going on pretty close to 2 hours. What do you think about wrapping her up? Do you have anything else you want to close with?
nah, I just wanted to tell T-Loc that a lot of the stuff he comes up with, not a lot of it, but like he'll mention one or two things when he does like a live or like a more like a longer video uh of something that I've been experiencing with. It might be like an object or like a word or whatever, you know, like a term or something or an idea. Where it's kind of like maybe we're minded too. Maybe everybody is in a sense, you know. I mean, shit.
You're not the first person to say that. There have been quite a
So,
few that mentioned that as well.
okay.
Regarding T-Lo, that is.
I mean, like earlier, also you said something about the great equalizer, and I had been thinking about that also, where you know there's a law in the universe where for every action there's a equal reaction, right? And the
Yes.
universe has uh you know in the big picture it always balances itself out. um so yeah, it was just kind of cool that you mentioned that also. So
It's kind of along the lines 1-0 of reaping, sowing, you know?
right, yeah.
It's a spiritual law, and when it's broken, there has to be consequence. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, and that's kind of what God kind of tells me, you know. He's like, hey man, uh you know, you're my kid, I love you, but whatever you get into in this world, you're gonna have to pay the consequences, you know, whether that's a hangover or worse, you know. um he's still there and he still loves us, I think, but we have to face you know, our consequences with everything we do down here.
Try not to be too hard on yourself. 1-0. Okay, you've got enough people trying to pot shot you all day long. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm actually getting pretty good at not being so hard on myself and shit like that. So, you know, like you said, everything's too serious in this world, man. You know, it's like fuck,
Yeah,
everything's systemized, a system on top of a system on top of a system. Um, you know, regulations on top of regulations and stuff. So, but yeah, this was a good talk, and
glad to have you here. Come on back anytime you like, and
uh,
we'll do it again.
I might have gone on a tangent here, but
Well,
um,
that happens.
hey, there's another guy too. I don't know if you remember him. It was a gentleman, a black guy. He was maybe late 30s. T-Loc had him on there, and he just kind of let him speak on what he thinks this whole thing is about. And the guy was just kind of blew my mind. He was really, really smart, man. He was wearing like a construction highlighter shirt, but I've never seen him, you know, participate again after that. Um, but yeah, dude, that guy, I really liked how he kind of like explained everything. He was super, super smart. Um, and maybe he can get him on here. I don't know if T-Loc's listening or not, or if he just fucking like, oh, these guys are being mouth heads today, and we're annoying him. Or I don't know.
A lot of times he'll go mute and just listen, but I'll inquire of him if he remembers this guy. You don't
Hmm.
happen to remember his name, do you?
You know what? I remember writing a note or something like that. But it was a while ago. It was maybe close to a year now, maybe, that he had him on.
Okay, wow, that's going back some
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
I'll ask him to see if he remembers the guy, and if he does, if so, we'll try to get him back on again.
yeah. I also wanted to apologize, kind of like to you guys, because when I first started listening to you guys and these lives, I would kind of like be skeptical and be like, oh, these guys are like perps and stuff. Like, especially with that one guy, man, that you guys had on here first. He was like on one, man. You know,
You
I don't
remember?
want to criticize him or judge anything, but
Uh-huh.
he just kind of he would throw me off, and then little things you would say. But I guess we're like kind of defensive in the way we think. And it's hard to trust people. But I guess that's another enemy tactic too, where doesn't want us to join or talk to each other or anything like that.
Look, let me tell you something. I've known T-Loke for a couple of years now. I mean,
Hmm.
he's, as far as TIs go, one of my closest friends, and there have been times I've doubted who he was. All right, how things. That's how this thing goes, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. When I started talking on here, I was hearing a little distortion and little voices in the actual feedback here. So I was like, are they trolling me? But I kind of know better now, where you kind of got to fight through those things a little bit, and then it kind of calms down. But yeah,
Well,
man, I hope you guys have a good Sunday. And maybe we can do this again sometime soon.
yeah, come on back. Glad to have you. We'll shoot
Yeah,
the.
man. And if you guys want to, I think I've shared my email and stuff like that with Tila, but I'll put it on the private chat here, so where you guys can reach me if you want.
All right, sounds like a plan. Well, you have
Okay.
yourself a good night, and we'll yak it up a later time. All right.
All right, man. All right. God bless you guys.
God bless Herbert Groover. Thanks for joining as well. Everybody have a good night.
Okay. Bye-bye. In the show.